confused, and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show
It's 9 a.m.
on
in the
News
Mile
Talk
High
710
City on this Wednesday,
KNUS.
September 17th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Coming up after news and comment with Blake Olson, we're going to talk with Heather Galeen, Director of Marketing and Communications, South Metro Denver Chamber. They got a great event coming up you're going to want to be a part of. Plus, Peter Boyles, live in studio, will be joining us a little bit later in the hour, previewing his show this weekend. It's been a wild show. We've talked with Jeff Crank. We've talked with the Elizabeth School Board members who had their signs spray painted with Nazi symbols. We've talked with Rose Puglisi on why she really left. And no, it's not the photo scandal. This is the weirdest thing to me. This, idea, the media all ran around with it. I saw headlines and it was like, House Minority Leader resigns after photo scandal. First of all, it wasn't that big of a scandal. It wasn't appropriate, but my goodness, the pearl clutching around all of it is kind of crazy. And then secondly, the idea that this is the reason. Yeah, the heat was too much for Rose. She couldn't give me a break. She put her daughters first. That's the reason why she's out there. Plus, she doesn't like hanging out with you. I don't think anybody would like hanging out down there right now. It's a wild time at the Colorado State Capitol. So it's been a great show. We're going to continue going. Heather Galeen, Director of Marketing and Communications with the South Metro Denver Chamber, joining us next. But now let's get to news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good morning, Wednesday, 54 and sunny and beautiful in Denver, expecting a high of 71 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the Fed expected to announce an interest rate cut today. Most analysts are leaning toward the central bank bringing down its benchmark rate for the first time since 2024.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just, it's nothing more than arrogance. I mean, I think you got it right. It's this unwillingness to just admit that, hey, maybe the idea we had wasn't the greatest.
That's Congressman Jeff Crank on with Jeff and Billy this morning. He wants Governor Polis to address crime. Imagine that. But Polis ignoring his letter in effect and the people of Colorado.
I think we've seen that from Jared Polis, whether it's the immigration issue, right? And, you know, he continues to say, well, we're not a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state after he passed these laws that made us that, right? And so it's just kind of this arrogance to kind of march forward. And, you know, the governor has blamed everyone else for the problems and the ills of Colorado. But I think,
boy, isn't that the truth? Congressman Crank, and he had some great things to say this morning, but unfortunately we didn't get to hear him get into it with Billy. Maybe next time Billy and Crank can get after it. Former Colorado House Minority Leader Rose Puglisi, top Republican in state government, on with Jeff and Billy last hour as well. She resigned on Monday, and you know what? I get it. We get this. Most of us in Colorado. She was concerned about her family. Time with children is a narrow window.
I'm a single mom. I raised 2 kids all by myself. I have 3 jobs outside of the legislature, and I'm incredibly passionate about saving our state, right, as we all are. And so, you know, over the last, I would say, probably a couple of months, I've been really trying to figure out if this was the right path for me, and especially for my kids.
Okay, cut off there. I'm sorry about that. She didn't really endorse anyone, but said there are some great leaders who can fill her role, of course. Well, it looks like the assassin Tyler Robinson told his transgender roommate to drop what they were doing and to look under his keyboard, where they found a note that read, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out," quote, end of quote, "Charlie Kirk," and that he was going to take the opportunity and do it. He was in court on Tuesday and charged with murder.
The defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty.
DJT and VP JD will speak at the memorial service on Sunday in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium. It will also feature remarks from Erica, his wife, Marco Rubio, RFK Jr., and Pete Hegseth. The Utah County DA, he read the text messages from Robinson to his transgender boyfriend after the assassination.
"I am sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence."
And ABC reporter Matt Gutman has been reporting on the assassination. Here's what the New York Post has to say about some of his social media posts.
ABC News correspondent Matt Gutman is facing a wave of criticism after describing text messages from Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, as very touching, very intimate, even fulsome. These messages were reportedly exchanged with Robinson's transgender partner shortly after the killing.
Wow. DJT and First Lady Melania attending a state banquet with royalty today in London. And the hearing with FBI Director Kash Patel continues this morning and throughout the day, but I don't think it can top this. Once again, Lazy Maisie Hirono from Hawaii.
You've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But, one question I had is that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up.
God, it's incredible. I thought there was a difference.
It's almost like a Saturday Night Live skit at this point.
It is. I don't see how she is not imitated every weekend. Well, I know why, but oh my goodness. All right. 51 in Parker, 52 in Englewood, 54 in Denver.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Oh, my goodness. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk, 710 KNUS.
We'll be on the backside of low pressure today, so it's still going to be a little cool, unsettled, and there still will be a few showers and thunderstorms around before better weather moves in Thursday and Friday. Highs upper 60s and low 70s. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms through evening. Lows tonight upper 40s. Partly cloudy and mild. Low to mid 70s Thursday, 75 to 80 Friday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Honored to have joining us now Heather Galeen, Director of Marketing and Communications with the South Metro Denver Chamber. Great event coming up, gosh, the 24th of September. It's a week from today, the Workforce Innovation Summit. Heather, give us some insight on this great event you guys are putting together.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Hi, Jeff and Bill. It's great to be back on your show. Yeah, our 2025 Workforce Innovation Summit takes place next Wednesday, September 24th, at Arapahoe Community College, which is on South Santa Fe in Littleton. And this event is really for any business leader who manages staff. So if you're managing people, hiring, training, mentoring, this is for you. Also a great event for HR professionals or people who work in corporate benefits. So we've got a great lineup and a great keynote speaker. Kate Watkins, she is the state's demographer. So she has this really cool job of studying demographic trends in Colorado. She's going to be speaking about things like the fact that Colorado's population is skewing older nowadays and what that's going to mean for employers in the future. So she is a big spotlight at this event, and we have more speakers and some really cool breakout sessions.
It's Heather Galeen. Heather serves as Director of Marketing and Communications for South Metro Denver Chamber. We're talking the Workforce Innovation Summit taking place next Wednesday, September 24th at Arapahoe Community College, 11:30 to 5 p.m. You can go to bestchamber.com, bestchamber.com. Click on their events, and you can find details there. Who's best to attend this event? Small business owners, HR professionals, and major corporations? How about educators? Who's best?
Yeah, great question. Really, this is for organizations of all sizes because workforce issues affect every organization. So whether you are a small business and you've got 5 or 6 employees, or you are a multi-billion-dollar corporation here in Colorado, this is for you. And again, really, this is for people that are directly managing people, or somehow they are in charge of workforce issues in the workplace. So again, a really ideal event for people who work in HR, corporate benefits, or anyone involved in managing how the company manages their people.
That's Heather Galeen, Director of Marketing and Communications for South Metro Denver Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about the Workforce Innovation Summit that is coming up Wednesday, September 24th, 11:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Arapahoe Community College. Now, Heather, from what you were talking about, I can also find some really good information that could be available for young entrepreneurs or older entrepreneurs, individuals that are thinking about starting their own business. Okay. Business owners, you haven't taken the jump yet. One of the things you're going to need is employees to get that thing off the ground. How can this type of event help someone that has that idea? I think I can bring a product to market, but they've never actually owned the business or, God forbid, run anything like employ people or HR. How can this seminar help someone that has that idea for a product but hasn't taken the jump yet? What can they learn about the possible pitfalls and advantages in today's employment world?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, if you are in startup mode or you are an emerging business, this is a great event because here's some of the things that you're going to learn in regard to workforce. First, you're going to need to train them. If you are a company that is intending to grow fast, you've got some funding and you're ready to hire people. For example, one of the breakouts is on how you can apply for grants that give businesses money to cover the cost of their training. So if you're a small business or a startup, you're basically going to get advice on how you can get free money to cover the cost of certain kinds of training for your employees, which is huge. We're also going to have information on how you can use AI tools to manage your workforce better, which is really critical for small businesses because, of course, they're typically working on tight budgets. So it's about working smarter, not harder. So the AI breakout session is going to be a really big one for small and emerging businesses to help them manage their workforce better and grow it on a smaller budget than a large corporation. So some of the things that we're doing in our breakout sessions are going to be super valuable for small and startup businesses. So great question.
And you're also doing a breakout segment on team building. And I think that's going to be very good for so many business owners, even just those business owners that have been around for a long time that are wondering why they can't connect maybe with the new crop of kids coming out of college, or even someone in that small, that small owner that has maybe 5 or 10 employees, or even someone that is a startup that's looking at putting together it because it's a team. Oftentimes, saying, hey, guys, we're a team and handing out T-shirts doesn't work because there is that motivation. The employees say, I have work to do and you're giving me the money. That's kind of the motivation as far as why I'm here. But to get larger emotional buy-in, to have your employees realize that this is something that's a little bit larger than just showing up to get the paycheck. If you wanted to do that, there's a whole bunch of other places you can go to work. But having that buy-in from the employees is so important. And you guys are featuring some team building exercises, ways to really dissect and problem solve some of the issues that we're having putting different generations inside of one specific workplace.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. We've got 2 different breakout sessions, and people can choose one or the other on team building. One is about sort of creative team building methods that really get people bonded and motivated, right? So this is beyond, hey, let's take the step zip lining for the day, that kind of stuff, right? But really creative ways, to your point, because we need to, especially with younger generations, get them engaged and get them motivated and get them feeling connected to their company. So there's one breakout session on really creative team building exercises that go way beyond what we think of as the normal team building stuff. We have another breakout that's a little even deeper. It's a little more esoteric, if you will. It really goes into the fact that, like you were, alluding to, the biggest problem with today's workforce in America is disengagement, right? We have young people that don't really want to necessarily have to have a full-time job. We have people who are quiet quitting. So there's all forms of disengagement that hurt a business. And a lot of times the business is not even aware of what's happening. So we have a company coming in to do a breakout on seeing this disengagement in your workforce. And again, using innovative team building methodologies. This is more of an approach, not an exercise, to get your workforce engaged, to get them feeling connected, and to want them to work for you because they're inspired. They're not just there for the paycheck. So great question.
That's Heather Galeen. She's the Director of Marketing and Communications for the South Metro Denver Chamber. Great event coming up here. The Workforce Innovation Summit, September 24th at Arapahoe Community College, 11:30 to 5. Great opportunities to hear from folks like Kate Watkins, the state demographer, as well as attend breakout sessions on where the workforce is going, how it can be improved, particularly young people, how things are changing there. Now, Bill, do you think you and I could do some improvements with our workforce, with our team building? Do you think we could do some team building? Trust fall?
You're not catching me. I already know this one. I know this joke already. I'm going splat. And then we're going viral online. I've already seen this, my friend.
I mean, so appreciate the fact that you all are putting in the work to try to understand workforce, how things are changing, improve, because so much of our time, so much of our energy during the day is spent with our colleagues. They, in many ways, become almost like family. And so you need to make sure those bonds are strong, because you get it wrong, it's a very difficult thing to work for, or to go to work and to deal with broken relationships at work. And so getting that right is really, really important. Very glad the South Metro Denver Chamber is putting this on. You can go to bestchamber.com, bestchamber.com. Workforce Innovation Summit, September 24th, 11:30 to 5, Arapahoe Community College. We're so grateful for your time this morning.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I have a special offer. This truly is special because we're only making this available to KNUS, your radio show listeners. But we are offering, if you are a non-chamber member, whether you're a member or not, you can bring a guest for free. Now, the guest has to be a non-chamber member because we want to meet new people. So how this works is you go to bestchamber.com/workforce. You buy yourself a ticket, and then you email marketing@bestchamber.com, and you ask for your free workforce ticket. We will connect with you, and we will give a friend or colleague a free ticket valued at $100 so you can bring a guest with you for free. Now, again, they have to be a non-chamber member, but this is a great gift. So if you want to go to the event, you don't have anyone to go with or anyone who doesn't want to pay for the ticket, we will give them a free ticket. So again, bestchamber.com/workforce, buy your ticket, and then email marketing@bestchamber.com, ask for your free ticket, and we will get your friend or colleague signed up to go with you.
Incredible opportunity for our listeners, brought to you by Heather Galeen, Director of Marketing and Communications for the South Metro Denver Chamber. So grateful for our partnership and friendship with you all. Congratulations on another great event coming up, and looking forward to hearing all about it.
Thank you so much, Jeff and Bill. Enjoyed being here.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, let's talk Gyrie's out of Parker's, the one that we've gotten to work with. They've got locations all over the Denver metro area. We've had a fantastic experience working with Gyrie's to improve the quality of our home design. Now, look, guys, I'm not good at any type of home remodel. I barely paint. I get confused at the Home Depots and the Lowe's and all the different types of paints and things you could bring in. So to have an expert that comes alongside you, answers questions, figure it all out has been a game changer for our life. We've been installing some Hunter Douglas custom blinds and shades, and they're looking great. In fact, they came out to the house to have an in-home personal consultation, brought samples, brought colors. We could see all the different types, and we're getting some remote control blinds installed. Fantastic. Very happy with Gyrie's. All you got to do, visit GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com, Gyrie's.com to get that personal in-home consultation. They do everything from window treatments to full room decor. They will help improve the beauty of your home. Gyrie's.com. Great. Go see the great people there. You'll be sure to thank me. All right, we'll continue. Peter Boyles is live in studio. We'll talk with him next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Live in studio with us is Peter Boyles, the legendary Pistol Pete.
Morning, boys.
You got a great show coming up on Saturday. You had to pivot last Saturday because of all the Charlie stuff. But I want to, can we talk a little bit about that and
very much
continue
so.
the conversation? Because earlier the show we had, including my wife, who's running for school board in Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a slate of candidates. They had all their signs attacked, Nazi swastikas spray painted over all of them. And I made the argument that this is the left trying to send an intimidation message, that the other guy that we called a Nazi, we put a bullet in him.
Yeah.
Now we've identified you as the Nazis with the hope that they'll get out, maybe be intimidated. That's how I read it. What do you think?
Well, the show that we did Saturday was a question, and it was, in our country today, and you and I talked about this off air, and Billy and I talked about it. I hear so many people in the House and the Senate, on television shows, elected officials, the list is endless, saying violence is not a part of America, or this kind of violence is not who we are. And I totally disagreed. I said, of course it is. I mean, we've been living it now since, well, Allen was murdered 40 years ago, but even before that, you know, the death of Jack Kennedy, the death of Dr. King, Malcolm X, Bobby Kennedy, the list goes on. And so
you could make an argument that the founding of this nation was built upon political violence.
Well, revolution is, we're not talking about, revolution is one thing. Political violence for the sake of killing somebody because you don't like their voice, they're light years apart. And the death of Alan Berg some 40 years ago, those people killed him because they didn't like what he was saying on the air. Yeah. And the same thing happened to Charlie Kirk.
How much do you attribute to the baiting of the speaker to the assassination? So in some cases, for instance, it's totally random. Just because you hold that spot, you're going to be killed, and we want to take you out. Abraham Lincoln, for instance, right? He wasn't out there engaging in debates and battles. Berg, though, did on radio engage with, I think, did he engage with the guys that ended up killing him? But or at least within that sect, he was debating them, right?
Well, one of the men that was in the car when they killed him called the show, and they did get a heads on. But by and large, what he did was he wrecked their spiritual leader was Richard Butler. They had a historian by the name of Jack Moore, and the guy that had the Primrose Cattleman's Gazette, Rick Elliott. Alan took them on. We took them on collectively, but Alan really took them on. And so there's no rhyme or reason, but that certainly was the reason that they had, was they invented who he was. One of the things that I thought was interesting is Arthur Bremer, who shot George Wallace, was doing it to impress a girl. Yeah. John Hinckley was trying to impress Jodie Foster, and this guy apparently had this girlfriend, quote unquote, and that he was texting after he had done it. Now, did he do it because of her, or did he do it?
It was a guy, though.
Yeah, it's a guy. Yeah, it's a trans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if the guy's transgendered or transsexual, and apparently cooperating. And but the text messages went to who he was living with.
Right, and the relationship.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. So that dawned on me that Bremer and Hinckley shot Ronald Reagan because of Jodie Foster. Think it through.
And that's an element that I find fascinating, too, because they're not rational people.
Not at all.
So we come up with these arguments that we need to lower the temperature, all that stuff. Okay, a rational person has that type of self-control that goes, gosh, I'm getting a little heated up here. I need to back off a little bit. But how do you deal with the I want to impress Jodie Foster element of an assassin?
No, it's Arthur Bremer. The young woman, he was a dishwasher and a short order cook, and he was in love with this 13 or 14-year-old girl. And there's a book out called Arthur Bremer's Diary. But he was trying to impress, and he said to the mayor, remember, he shoots George Wallace in a parking lot of a mall in Maryland, and the two state troopers are leading him away. And Bremer turns to one of the troopers and says, "I'm really somebody now, aren't I?" And apparently Jodie Foster, or excuse me, John Hinckley thought that. And who knows, this guy apparently is clammed up, isn't talking, but everybody around him's talking, his mother, his father, his friends. But he was texting friends. He was this whole stream. I mean, how did he figure that he was going to get away?
Yeah.
I don't think he did. So
that's Peter Boyles. Pete's live in studio with us. We're previewing this upcoming weekend because you had to make some changes. We did too after last week. It's been a hard week.
It's been a very hard week.
And I'm younger. I'm 43, so born in 81. Didn't see the 60s. But in my mind, what I've watched, particularly among my children, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, someone they all admired and, in fact, knew and met and spent time with.
He was their Kennedy.
That's what I'm watching this death of innocence happen.
Sure.
Where they're coming to terms with a world where a single shot in a public gathering can take out one of their heroes.
And these young conservative young men and women, he's their Kennedy. And it dawned on me that watching the reaction, and I remember how we all reacted when Jack Kennedy was killed and assassinated. I was a young guy, and working in a steel mill, and Jack Kennedy was gone, and he was Irish, he was our guy, and that was that.
By the way, have you watched this new Oliver Stone documentary on Robert F. Kennedy?
No, I've not.
It's on Angel Studios.
Okay.
It's kind of one that you have to buy. I'm working my way through it, but he sits down. Oliver Stone sits down with Robert F. Kennedy and talks through the drug addiction, the relationship he had with his mother, his father, and then what Jack was like. He said that Jack was someone that always connected well with the kids. They had fun. How they all lived together up there. Yeah, in the compound.
Yeah.
It's wild.
No, they're Kennedys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Right. Wow, so what do you got this weekend?
Well, two things. Grant Neal, who's the MMA fighter, what an amazing young guy. I've had some great phone conversations with him. He's also a fight historian and a very good one. He's bringing his trainer, and then what's going on in Gaza, the Palestinians are coming back. And so, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any place for us to, what we used to call on radio, go hide. And back to what you were saying, and I wanted to put an addendum on it. When Alan's life was taken, that really changed what we were doing. And I said that it was Aristotle or Socrates or someone said that little boys kill frogs in sport, but frogs die in earnest. And the people who were killing Alan, they killed the mockingbird. They did. In the case of killing Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, I think, will get more powerful in death. Certainly Malcolm X did, and certainly Dr. King did, and certainly the Kennedys did. I mean, I saw his wife on TV. That was such a heartbreak to watch her.
Jackie O.
Yeah. And the same thing that Jackie Kennedy stood there stoically, the little boy
Erica,
saluting.
Erica and Jackie. Yeah. Well, tell me, give us some insight, because you have unique perspective. Alan gets murdered.
Yeah.
And remind people he was murdered going to his car.
Getting out of his car.
Getting out of his car.
On Adams Street.
Tell us how the notification moved through the station and what the days were like afterwards, and how you had to have that self-reflection about what you all were doing.
It's only now are my children, who are now adults, and my son's a father himself, are talking about the impact that that had on them. And here's their dad's closest friend. We did the same thing for a living. Yep. He was at the house. They knew him, and knew him well. I mean, it wasn't like, they knew him. And only now, and my son's, your age, and tells me about how frightened he was. And I was so involved in everything that and this is one thing that I say to parents now, you and Billy, make sure your kids are okay. And I remember it was just one blur. I can't even tell you that rest of that week what happened. We were doing radio shows and television shows, and cops came to see us, and I really don't know all of it that happened, but someone once asked, one of the homicide cops in Denver, who do you think took his life? And the guy took the phone book, threw the phone book on the table, said, pick a name. And that was pretty brutal, but they turned out to be who they were. They were no different apparently than a fledgling. This kid in Evergreen he was an anti-Semite. He was reading Klebold and Harris. He was, man, where did these guys come from? I don't know.
That's Peter Boyles. He's live in studio as we're previewing the upcoming show he hosts on 710 KNUS on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1. Tune in every Saturday. I know privately every conservative that's in this game,
business,
and I use the game or business or movement or whatever it is.
The industry.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it is an industry. You try to build a career in it, whether you're a lobbyist or lawmaker or radio personality. It's all kind of part of this. But everybody goes, is it worth it? After you watch one of your colleagues die. I imagine after Alan was shot, you went through some form of self-reflection about what you were doing, about the style that we engage in. I think about that when I go down and interview people, and I'm asking them these questions. Is the style right? Is the style inviting the violence? All that I think through.
Well, first of all, is it worth it? Absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine having done anything else for those many years. Number two, Berg's assassination led me to my sobriety. Alan was himself sober. He was first sober man I knew, truly sober. And it led me to my sobriety. And that was, a lot of things were difficult at that time. But it was still what this business is intended to be. And it's losing a lot of it. And I hate to see it. We've talked. There's people now that don't take calls. Well, you're no longer doing talk radio. Now you're doing listen radio or opinion radio. And one of the things that made the business great was, I called it the electric backyard fence or the electric bar room. And, people got into hoots with each other, but we never, ever, ever expected what those guys were planning on doing. And I would imagine Kirk, young, he's 31 years old, you're bulletproof. That's the time of your life you're bulletproof. And so, and I'd listen to the guy. I mean, he came on after you guys, and I'd be in the car and I'd listen to him, and he was going to be the next Limbaugh. He really was.
And I know they had a friendship. I was at Mar-a-Lago when he honored Rush Limbaugh that one night. Yeah, and
maybe even would have gone on beyond that.
And when you, I think Charlie Kirk and Alan Berg had different styles too. Not that either style invited what happened, but from what I've learned listening to Alan, Alan was, man, he really dug in. And was really what after some of those callers. Go ahead.
I don't have time. How much time we have?
Got time.
All right. True story, and it's a Berg story. And so I was doing mornings or 9 to noon. And then before we did a noon to 1 show together, he came on at 1. And we had a tiny office, smaller than this studio, with a producer. And I worked like I work now, look like I'm going to school with books and mags and articles and stuff. I lug it in here Saturday morning. I lugged it in every morning. So he comes, and he was a clothes horse, a beautiful dressed guy. He was just probably the best dressed guy I ever knew. So he comes in the door, and he got a cigarette going. He smoked Pall Malls. And we're at KOA. And I said, what are you going to do today? He said, honest to God, Jeff, he had a news clip. He said, I got it right here. So we could see up from the little tiny office we had where the door was open, I could see his back. He was working. And so he goes in, and it was in the Inquirer or the Globe or something, that the Virgin Mary was seen again by, I forget, it was Egyptians or some, and he took the thing and he went, and he smacked it and made a noise. He said, like in that voice he had, "She's back." And by the time he was done just setting the stage, we could see the phone banks. Everything was lit. The phones downstairs, the receptions were lit. And he turned around and he had a cigarette going, and he turned around and just smiled at me. He had the show. And he had that show was just it was a fight. And people tuned in to listen. And every once in a while they, and he would argue one way and end up arguing against himself on the other side. He would. I saw it 100 times. But he just wanted the zen of it,
the essence of that debate.
Yeah, you and I
connection,
were talking
right?
about how do you do it? And
well, I said at Brave Church at the memorial I spoke at on Sunday that Charlie Kirk was never going to put a glass partition between him and the people.
No.
It wasn't his style. It wasn't what it was about. It was that human connection.
Oh yeah, we went out.
Even if it was debate. Yeah. But Charlie was never going to put.
We had a guy. We were in a place that was called the Tally Ho, and a guy named Joel Barron owned it. He was from Chicago. He loved Berg. Berg was from Chicago, and we were out prime rib night Friday night, and I had a friend, and Alan had his friend with him, and I see coming out of the bar comes this woman, and she's coming head on. And I'm thinking, wow, this is going to get good. And right behind her is her husband, and her husband could eat apples off of our heads, and he's right behind her. I'm thinking, all right, here we go. And she was coming for him. And I'm thinking, oh, man, because he wasn't a fighter. And I thought, oh, what are we going to do? Am I going to have to get knocked out trying to stop him? And this woman gets to him, and Berg, here comes her husband, and he's a big guy. And Berg goes, "Sir, sir," and he did that, "Sir," and he said, "What do you do for a living?" And he's got a cigarette going, and the guy said he was a block foreman or something, laying bricks. He said, "Good. Here's what you do. You come into my house on Saturday, and you lay bricks, and I'll talk to your wife." And the guy looked at him, and he took his wife by the arm, and they went back in the bar. And I'm looking at him like, how'd you do that? And you ever see people that can like whistle down dogs?
Yeah.
Berg did it. I watched him do it.
That is funny.
I thought we were going to get crushed that night.
Live in studio, Peter Boyles. We'll continue the conversation. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It's been a wild one today. Jeff Crank kicked it off with us, talking about a letter they sent to Jared Polis with a list of his specific laws that Jared Polis signed into law that have created all this crime problem. So Jeff Crank, Lauren Boebert, Gabe Evans, that in the 6 o'clock hour. 7 o'clock hour, the slate of conservative school board members here in Elizabeth, Colorado, southeast of Denver, small rural county, had their signs spray painted with Nazi swastikas. Somebody had cut fences, climbed into these fields, and then sprayed the signs with black swastikas. Is it going to intimidate them? Are they getting out of the game? Are they done with it? Especially in light of the assassination that took place last week. We spoke with them during the 7 o'clock hour. And in the 8 o'clock hour, Rose Puglisi joined us. Rose Puglisi.
With the signs. At a time in which we're all talking about, hey, look, why don't we tone down the language? Are we being too forceful in names that we're calling each other? Are we using stereotypes that really aren't fair? Are we demonizing people we disagree with, not because they're actually evil, but because we disagree with them? And then you go and spray paint swastikas on signs. Good job. Just saying. Okay, sorry.
I mean, that's why I say they have no interest in toning it down.
Yeah,
they're not interested in that. But that was a great conversation. Then Rose Puglisi joined us to correct the record. Some of the media lug nuts running around saying she resigned because of a photo scandal. One, it wasn't much of a scandal. I think Brian Armagost just got tired of dealing with people down there at the state capitol, too. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Rose is like, I'm out of here. I got family to take care of, all that stuff. So
yeah, and does it make sense that, again, just walking through it, that Rose wasn't directly involved in the scandal, and is that the reason she walks away? No, it's because of the pressure and stress that has been created on herself and her family and how difficult this has been. She had to spend some time in honest thought and prayer and ask, is this the path forward? She says no. She's got to choose a different path right now, and that's fair. We all have done that at some portion in our life. Stop jumping to conclusions about why.
Text message is hot on this one. We could get to this tomorrow. How about, this is from Lewis in Aurora, when white people get assassinated, there's no riots. Ooh, interesting. We'll have to continue the debate tomorrow. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.